He says what he says at the press conference, but is he going against what he's actually believing? So it wasn't a low blow.
I think it was.
See,
No, it wasn't a low blow.
Thank you. Reverse psychology.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
You've done well there, mate.
Well, this misconception that the Cobra is an AJ hater. People are forgetting that me and Anthony Joshua are friends.
Welcome to Talk Boxing episode number 52 with me, Spencer Oliver, and him, Mr. Cole Frotch. Now, before we get on with the show, guys, please like the videos, subscribe to the channel, and more importantly, leave your comments in the boxes below. Cobra, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good. Listen, let's get straight into it. The day of reckoning, 23rd of December. The people need to give their heads a wobble here on just how big this card is, how stacked it is.
It is a good card. It's one of the few cards that I've been looking forward to recently. So yeah, roll on Saturday night because especially because of the heavyweights as well. There's some substance underneath as well in the undercard. Yeah, which we'll get into. But the heavyweight stuff, I'm really interested in.
Absolutely. Listen, let's start at the top. Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin. I mean, they've got history, these two. Boxed twice as an amateur, both good fights. Wallin feels like he's in the right place at the right time now with Joshua. He thinks that he's mentally weak at the moment. Where do you see this fight?
I think we're gonna learn something, aren't we, from Anthony Joshua, depending on how he tackles it. Because his last couple of fights, I mean, the Alenius one was a decent knockout on it, overhand right, and I think there's definitely question marks around his. I don't know if it's his motivation, his desire. There's a lot of flying around about him being mentally weak, which I kind of started. I said mentally he's probably not there where he needs to be since the Ruiz defeat, but. He's big and strong, and he let a few shots go against Alenius, so he's looking better and he's looking a bit more comfortable. So I think against Otto Wallin, if he can put combinations together and go for it a bit, rather than wait until the guy's almost gone, like Alenius was tired, he's getting old, he'd had enough, and AJ then backed him up and hit him with that right hand, and that was game over. If AJ can kind of stamp his authority early and look like he means business and show us that he's actually in there because he wants to be in there and he wants to become world champion again, then this is a great fight for him to show everybody that he's capable and still got that desire to want to become a world champion. But he needs a good performance to show us that. How important do you think that last knockout was? Look, the Jermaine Franklin fight, we know it was all about AJ, the rebuilding process. We thought he was going to get the job done inside the distance. Jermaine Franklin proved a stubborn customer, give him a good fight, but Joshua come away with a victory. Then he goes in against Robert Helenius, 7th round, boom, right hand through the middle, absolutely flattens him. How important for AJ was that to get that showreel knockout? Because you know, there's been a lot of talk about the confidence in his own ability, etc., and the psychological damage, which he sort of like totally denies or any of that sort of stuff. But how important as a fighter do you recognise that was, getting a knockout like that? Because I feel that that's something that was needed for AJ going into these big fights that he's got planned. Yeah, I think it was important that he got the knockout and he got that one-punch finish, and then he gave it the little dance, didn't he? So he was obviously pleased with himself because he showed he was quite nonchalant when he was celebrating. But I would say you've got to look at the level of opposition he's in front of and what was coming back at him. It's easy to be a bully, and I'm not calling Anthony Joshua a bully, but when you're on top and you're in front and there's nothing coming back, you can let a big shot go. You can take it to the tired opponent who's very limited and put a bit of a whooping on him, which is what AJ did. He kind of waited, he picked his moment, didn't he? Which was good. It was good for him to time it, but I didn't learn much from that knockout of Alenius. I just didn't learn much from AJ because it was safety first again. Back foot, behind the jab, waiting, looking a bit tentative, looking a bit like anxious. Don't feel like he wants to let it go, but he don't want to go for it. And then when Alenius was tired, he threw that right hand and it was fight over. So I think with Otto Wallin, we're going to learn because Wallin's going to come and try and win. He's going to be ambitious. He knows there's a big payday in for him. He knows the future could get a lot. Well, the future will be better for him if he can beat AJ. So and from what he's talking, the stuff he's saying, and you look at the history of him, he's just come off the back of a decent win against Gassiev. Yeah. And he's got six or seven wins since losing to Tyson Fury, and he gives Tyson Fury a hard fight. So Otto Wallin's going to be coming. He's going to mean business. He's going to try and win. So then we're going to learn something about Anthony Joshua.
I mean, AJ's, you know, he's got this fight with Otto Wallin, as you said, slippery southpaw, who, like you say, has got ambition. You know, he sees that he can tear the script up here. He sees that, you know, he can go in there because it's like a Super League, this, isn't it? You got like, you know, we're going to get onto it in a minute, but you got like Wilder versus Parker. You got Anthony Joshua versus Wallin. If Wilder comes through, Joshua comes through, there's a potential fight on March the 9th. So it's like a sort of league, and you've got February the 17th, you've got Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. You'd expect the winner of that to go in against AJ Wilder winner. So what I'm saying is there's going to be a lot of fights out in Saudi Arabia with a lot on the line. For fighters like Otto Wallin and for Joseph Parker, but we stick on the AJ fight at the moment, Otto Wallin, he sees this as huge opportunity to tear up the script there. And when fighters have got that mentality and he feels that AJ's in this mentally weak place right now, like I said, they've boxed twice as amateurs, 2 good fights. Wallin sort of pushed him, you know, both times, but Absolutely. AJ won the fights. Yep. When the fighters like that, you know, it's going to be difficult for AJ out there because of the potential banana skin and the fact that he's a slippery, awkward southpaw. And AJ, obviously, he can't be hesitant. He's got to believe in his own ability.
Absolutely.
And he's got to take the fight to him, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
So, like...
This could be a tough fight for
That's
AJ.
what I'm saying.
If Wallin turns up and he's ambitious and he believes in himself and he's got a lot to fight for, then this is why it's exciting in terms of finding out where AJ is. Because we're going to find something out about Anthony Joshua. If Wallin comes and boxes behind that southpaw jab, puts combinations together and he's picking AJ and outpointing him, say he wins round 1, round 2, AJ never gets going, AJ's a bit tentative, a bit nervous, don't want to commit because he don't want to get caught. I mean, Wallin's not a massive puncher, but he's still a big heavyweight. So he's not going to want to walk onto that southpaw backhand, is he, AJ? Yeah. So if AJ doesn't get going for 4, 5, 6 rounds and Otto Wallin's in front, then it's going to be interesting because AJ's either going to sink into his own little mind and he's going to be thinking, what's going off? I mean, he's got Ben Davis in his corner, so hopefully he can rattle him out of that because he knows his stuff, Ben Davis, and he's quite good with the mind games. But if he doesn't then produce something and start stepping on the gas and start putting the combinations together and taking it to Wallin and hitting him with them big shots, he's bigger and heavier and stronger. He needs to use it. But if he doesn't, and he ends up getting beat on points, losing in a stinker, that could be the end of Anthony Joshua. Where's he going to come back from that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what did you make of AJ at the press conference? You know, normally we see him and he's quite reserved, quite quiet and quite respectful, but he seemed to be a little bit edgy. He was angry. And Otto Wallin, he sensed that and he was trying to get in AJ's head. I mean, what did you make of that whole press conference, of the persona of the pair of them?
I thought that AJ looked a bit better than what he usually looks. He had a bit more to say.
Do you like that edgy bit on it?
Yeah,
you know,
I do. I prefer it when he's having a go back. But then you see him sat in the lobby of a hotel and what's his name walks through?
Jarrel Miller.
Jarrel Miller walks past and calls him a doesn't he? Basically. and then what does he do about it? He sits there and ignores him as if like he didn't just say that, did he? I know they had a conversation after, but I'd be like, what did you just say?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'd be off my chair, putting it on him. Because that's what you should have as a fighter. You should have that response. You should be like, I'm not having that. You think, I'm going to have that. Yeah. Talking to me like that, but he didn't. He sat there and kept it quiet. So sometimes I do wonder. He says what he says at the press conference, but is he going against what he's actually believing? So the fight's going to tell us what we need to know. Sure. Wallin's going to come and try and win. What's AJ going to do about it? Is he going to stick it on him early, punch him in the face hard and often with combination punches, which we know he can produce, because he is one of the best heavyweight finishers of the last 10 years or so. Sure. Because when he's got his opponent hurt, he goes for the finish and he puts the shots together. But that was with Robert McCracken in his corner. And that was before the Ruiz and the 2 Usyk losses. So
could we get a potential upset here?
Of course we could get an upset.
Do you think? I mean, like you know,
I'm hoping. I sincerely hope.
A lot of people writing Wallin off, but I just think it's a dangerous fight. It's a very dangerous fight.
You can't write him off. Awkward southpaw, likes the combination punches. He's quite busy and he's quite agile and he's tricky. He's hard to hit. So you can't write Wallin off.
Yeah, sure. What do you make of them all being out in Saudi, actually, and they're all in the same hotel? So like you say, you've just picked out one there. You know, Jarrel Miller, who we know's got a big mouth anyway, and he'll go round, and he's been having arguments with everyone already. Great entertainment, by the way. We'll get onto him in a minute. But, like, you know, he's pulled AJ already. And, I mean, as we get nearer the fight, Cole, you know, this goes out tomorrow, Wednesday. And as we get nearer the fight, you get press conference down on Thursday. Then you got Friday. By the way, talkSPORT have got the commentary live on Saturday night. And we'll be across it as well with the YouTube channel. So make sure you tune in. talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel for all the local interviews. Just thought I'd get that in there. You know it is, Cobra. But what do you make of all the fighters being in the same hotel? Because, as you know, Cole, getting near a fight tensions rise, a bit edgy. Is it a good thing or a bad thing that they're all in the same hotel?
I think it's great for the bystander because it's
for the stand-up. I mean,
it's already kicking off, isn't it? Between
don't you think it's just
between Miller and
potentially
AJ.
just like?
Yeah, it's weird how they've done that. They've stuck them all in the same hotel and they're all passing each other in the lobby, having a go at each other. Like I said earlier, with Jarrel Miller having a go at AJ. But then they did have a bit of a chat and a confrontation. But
what's the Cobra like? You know, when he's in there and he's got like 2 days to go before a fight, he's down on the weight, he's a little bit edgy, he's a bit snappy.
Yeah, it can all go.
And your opponent's giving you a bit of lip, you know.
Mate, it could all go off. The fight's off, isn't it? Because someone's getting ironed out on the hotel lobby. That's the problem. That's the problem. No, you got to
someone's getting Cobra'd.
Listen, you got to keep it cool, haven't you? You got to stay professional. And they are passing each other in the hotel. Reception, but yeah, they're all professional. They all know what's happening. AJ looks a bit more AJ, and he looks like he's a little bit more switched on. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to hopefully AJ doing the business, because there is this conception that, or this misconception that the Cobra is an AJ hater. People are forgetting that me and Anthony Joshua are friends. We used to train together at the EIS.
I like
I've got nothing but respect for him because he's had a fantastic career. Check out his CV. He fought Usyk when he didn't need to fight Usyk. Ron McCracken actually said, we kind of don't need to fight Usyk.
So we're putting it out there. The Cobra is not a hater, is that right?
Listen, Anthony Joshua knows. When he sees me and him are cool with each other.
Love it.
I give an opinion. Yeah?
Brilliant.
My opinion don't agree with people. Not everybody's going to agree with my honest opinion.
Yeah.
But that's what you're going to get with me, honesty.
Love it. Listen, let's move on. Deontay Wilder, Joseph Parker. Firstly, before we get into the fight, I want to get into Deontay Wilder and this newfound mellow approach. I mean, what are you making of that? He's been to some sort of retreat, I believe, and, you know, he's been
on the ayahuasca or the mushrooms.
Yeah,
he's been doing some
psychedelics. It's some herbal medicine, apparently.
Yeah,
but, I mean, the Cobra will be able to tell us all about this.
Listen, I don't know what you're trying to insinuate there, but I do like holistic medicine.
Yeah, no, I understand that you understand, you know, with this whole retreat thing and what it is, and this new mellow approach. What I'm saying is, do you think it's good for him at this stage of his career? 38 years of age now. What's he had? 45.
It can't do him any harm, can it? I think it's going to mellow him out, make him a little bit more chilled, and make him focus on himself more, which sometimes brings the best out in you. So if he's relaxing and meditating, and he's exploring microdosing his psychedelics, if that's what he's doing, I'm not 100% sure. You know, he can't quote us on what Deontay Wilder's doing. He's exploring different avenues.
All we know is he's gone to a retreat and he come out and he said he's like a newfound.
There you go. So he's had a good chill out. He might be going a little bit, shall we say, spiritual, which is never for me a bad thing.
You've nailed it.
So with that said, I think that all that will do is it'll give the self-belief, because don't forget he's lost to Tyson Fury twice, one draw and 2 losses. He's coming back from that. He's not been very busy for, what's he had?
He's had one fight in 26 months.
2 years,
one fight in 26 months, and that was a one-round blowout of Robert Helenius, ironed him, iced him, big right hand, flat, as he does. You know, if you look at it, every single fighter he's had in his, 45 fights, he's either knocked him out or had him on the floor, including Tyson Fury, that is. You know, so I think, you know, what do you make of Joseph Parker's chances going into this one? Parker's had 3 good wins this year, and he's coming in there. He's talking to talk. Parker. I had an interview with him the other day. You can get that on the talkSPORT YouTube channel as well. But he's like, you know, he feels that the timing is right. Like he said that, you know what? He said, look, he's 38 years of age. He's been around for a while. He's been inactive, and he's sort of taken some from that. The question I asked him was, can you avoid getting iced effectively by that right hand?
I think that Joseph Parker, with the fact that he's been busy of late and he's on the camp team Fury, you know, he's training with Tyson Fury.
And he looked good last time out against Simon Keane. He looked good there.
Yeah, he did look good. He boxes well. He's quite a tidy boxer, but we've seen him under pressure in long fights, say against people like Dillian Whyte, and fall short. And I just think that at that world level, he's always found a little bit wanting, and he's just not quite got what you need. But he's still developing, he's still learning, he's still young enough. So anything can happen. But I would expect Deontay Wilder at some stage to land that crushing right hand and have him banging trouble. Even if he's getting outboxed for 5, 6, 10 rounds, he could be getting outboxed for. That right hand's waiting for Joseph Parker.
But what about the inactivity? Could that play a part in Deontay Wilder, you know, with this 26 months, one fight in 26, one round effectively?
Depends what he's been doing in the gym, depends how much sparring he's been having.
Well, he said he's been sparring well, he's been training well, he said that everything's good, he's been at the retreat, he's found a new spiritual...
He's a natural fighter, he likes to throw big punches and he likes to try and hurt his opponent. Even if he gets crazy, he swings them away, doesn't he? His footwork's all wrong, his boxing ability is limited. But he goes in there with that mindset of a killer. He's got mean intentions. He's trying to knock his opponent out, and he can do it. He's more than capable. He's got the punching power, and even at 38 years old, is he 38?
Yeah, 38, yeah, 38.
So he's still going to have that power because that's the last thing to go. So he's still a massive, massive danger man. But he's going to fade as it gets past round 7, round 8. So he needs to maybe start to land that right hand early.
Listen, we know how Wilder's going to approach a fight. You know, it's no secret. He said it himself. He's going to go out there and he's going to try and draw Parker in, and he's just going to try and detonate that right hand. That is the game plan for him. So he's going to start fast, rush out. Can Joseph Parker, how does he approach the fight? Can he avoid the right hand? Can he take Wilder into the second half of the fight? And can he win it if he gets him in the second half?
I think he can avoid the right hand, but can he avoid it for 36 minutes, for 12 rounds? I'm not so sure, but yeah, of course. You know, go to his right hand side, away from the right hand, not sitting too close. Don't pull out with your chin in the air. Box behind your jab, move your head, and get that right glove in front of your face. That's what you've got to try and do to not get it with the right hand. But it's one of them, innit? You go out in the rain, you get wet, so he's going to get hit at some stage. It's whether he sees a shot coming and rides it, and half blocks it, or slips under it, or if he gets caught flush. If he gets caught flush off Deontay Wilder with one punch anywhere in the cranium, it's going to be lights out.
How instrumental do you think it is having Tyson Fury like in his camp, giving him the inside knowledge of the strengths and the weaknesses of Deontay Wilder? Do you think that that's a positive? Yeah,
most definitely. I can't see any negative for him to be training with someone who's shared the ring 3 times with Wilder. Tyson Fury knows Deontay Wilder. Having said that, every time he boxed him, he did something different, didn't he?
Sure.
Tyson Fury, but he'll be able to draw off that knowledge from Tyson Fury in them training camps. But Deontay Wilder's just, again, I go back to his dangerous right hand, that big detonating right hand, that explosive right hand lands on the chin of anybody. You've seen what it does. Look at his record, his knockout percentage is there for everybody to see. And Joseph Parker is just the level below world title level.
42 of 43 victories he's had by KO.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the ones that he's lost. He's had Tyson Fury down 4 times on the floor. Yeah. So it sort of underlines that he's one of the biggest punchers in boxing history.
Yeah, so for Joseph Parker to avoid that right hand for 12 rounds, you've got to say it's very, very unlikely. So he's probably going to get knocked out by Wilder, but it's boxing. Wilder's been inactive, as we've said, and Joseph Parker's going to be coming with a game plan. So that's why the card's so exciting.
Another interesting fight on the undercard, Daniel Dubois versus Jarrel Miller. Firstly, what do you make of Miller being involved in this sort of event, you know, with the foul tests that he'd had, you know, getting, the foul test before Anthony Joshua. And I think that was a lot to do with that hotel thing there as well, because obviously he was meant to be fighting Joshua at Wembley, wasn't it? Yeah. He fouled two tests, was stripped, was banned. He served his time. So what do you make of him, firstly, getting this opportunity? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's not so good, or do you think he's done his time, let him get on with his career?
I don't know who else you'd pick to chuck in the mix. There's a couple, isn't there?
It's a good fight, to be fair.
Zhilei Zhang, if you replaced him with Miller, you'd probably say, actually, he's a good addition to this tournament. You've got Jarrel Miller, but Jarrel Miller talks really well. He's entertaining to listen to. Yeah. He run rings around everybody at that press conference. He kind of led the script, and he led the way at that press conference in Saudi. But I'm not so happy with the fact that he's failed a couple of drugs tests, and it was like a blatant fail as well. I mean, it was juiced up to the eyeballs for the layman's terms, wasn't it? So it's bad, really, that he's able to come in, give it large, run his mouth, and be part of something that's so sort of lucrative. I think there's probably people that are more deserving of the chance. And I hope Daniel Dubois punches his head in and knocks him out, which I think he will. That's
what I was going to say to you. Do you think that it's possible? I mean, look, Miller's one of those guys. He's tough. I'm not sure if that fight was meant to actually... Was that fight meant to go at Wembley, or was it meant to be New York, him and AJ? I can't remember, wherever it was meant to be anyway. We know that the fight was cancelled for him failing tests.
Or maybe not, because the Ruiz stepped in after that, and that was in New York.
Yes, I think it might have been even New York. But anyway, like, what's your feelings on Dubois' chances against Miller? Because like Miller is a difficult guy, even though he's big, he's quite elusive, and he's got staying power. I think the big question mark is over Daniel Dubois, isn't it? Especially after the defeat against Alexander Usyk. People questioned his heart again. Dubois says, listen, let you question my heart, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to right the wrongs of the last fight.
He took a lot of punishment, didn't he? I mean,
he did.
You can question his heart and say he quit because he went down and didn't get up in time. Yeah. But he's in against Usyk, and he'd already been down, he'd been hurt. He'd had Usyk already badly hurt with that low blow. People saying, is it body shot? Was it a low blow? So there was a lot of emotions going on for him in that ring. And then when the fight then got allowed to carry on after the 4.5 minutes what Usyk took, it was like then he was trying to get back into it, and he was getting caught. When I mean, it was a stiff right on from Usyk that done him in the end. But he was being worn down, and he was being beaten up.
Yeah.
If he'd have made the count or beat the count, I think he was getting stopped anyway. So he kind of saved himself for another day. But then you have to question, well, why didn't he carry on? Why did he stop? And if there is a mental weakness, there's a bit of fragility in his head there, then that might come to show.
Jarrel Miller might expose
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which I hope not, because I sincerely hope that the ability that Daniel Dubois has got, 'cause he's got boxing ability, he can punch as well. He's big, he's tall, he's strong, he's young. He could be the future of the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
So I want to see him grow and develop, which I'm sure he is. You tend to get better and better with fighters unless you go through a really bad experience. Like Anthony Joshua went through a bad experience with Ruiz, and he's not seemed to recover.
Yeah.
But some people grow better from a loss. Like me, for example. I came back from two defeats, lost to Kessler. I got better. I was better in my next fight. I lost to Andre Ward. I give Lucian Beauty, but not everyone does. Anthony Joshua lost to Ruiz, and then the rematch, he was tentative. It was a bit gun shy. But he got knocked Sparko. Do you know what I mean? He got beat up and almost was forced to quit in New York against Ruiz. So it's the way in which you lose. And Dubois sort of pulled himself out against Usyk. He knows he's big and strong. He knows he can hurt his opponents. I think with Jarrel Miller, hopefully he boxes clever behind the jab and lands that big backhand. And I think he'll get Jarrel Miller out there.
Listen, I think that what Daniel Dubois has done is he's taken a lot of confidence from the Usyk defeat, because I think what actually happened there was he blew a gasket. He knew that he had Usyk in desperate trouble. Usyk went down, and by the way, it wasn't a low blow. It was waistline.
It was a low blow.
It was a waistline. It was a waistline.
That's
an argument. That's for another show.
That's a low blow.
Yeah, he's got his shorts up here under his tits.
No, there's
below
his
anyway,
navel.
I was ringside and I did sort of see the shot going.
I saw it as well. I saw the slow-mo.
Right, well, anyway, he's gone over, and for whatever reason, he stayed there for the best part of 5 minutes. Because
the referee said take some
Daniel
time.
Dubois stupidly
to the ref.
lost his mojo in that time, whereas he should have been fueling off that.
Yeah, he cooled down a bit.
And he allowed him to get up and recover, and Usyk done what he does great, and he slowed it. I think Dubois went for it in the next round, blew a gasket, and I think that's half the reasons for it as well. He recognised that Usyk was going up a level. That's what great champions do.
Whichever way you look at it, Daniel Dubois losing to Alexander Usyk
took a lot of confidence from it. He took a lot of confidence from it, is what I'm saying.
Fantastic experience for him moving forward.
And I think that'll only benefit him against Miller, and that's why I'm with you, Cole. I think that Dubois wins, and I think he wins inside the distance as well, because I just think that he recognises that, one, he belongs at that level, because I think that was obvious to see. He belongs at that level, and I just think that, it's about opportunity for Daniel to put himself back up there and back in the mix. So it's good. Listen, it's a good fight. It's a good fight.
That's something we can both agree on.
Yeah. We've still got a little way to go here. All right. Let's move on.
You want a low blow?
I think it was.
See,
no, it wasn't a low blow.
Thank you. Reverse psychology. See what I did there?
You done well there, mate.
I think it was.
You done well there.
Just going against me.
No, you took a
Done
liberty
like
there,
a kipper
mate.
there,
no, you'd actually done me like a kipper,
That in.
Nah.
Reverse psychology from the Cobra.
Yeah, that's it.
You can see more of that on Frosh on Fighting, my own YouTube channel.
Right, let's move on. Let's move on. There's a light heavyweight fight going on there. A guy that I think is pound for pound.
Go on.
He's got to be in the top three. Surely you agree with that. Dmitry Bivol against Lyndon Arthur. Lyndon Arthur getting a huge opportunity. That's what boxing is all about, Cole, right?
Yeah,
it's about opportunity. And, for Lyndon Arthur, this is a massive opportunity. But can he pull it off against someone with Dmitry Bivol's class? I mean, Dmitry Bivol, the way that he dealt with Saul Alvarez, the way that he controlled the space, he beat him at his own game inside when he wanted to choose to sit there. He got him on the ropes. He kept it long on the ropes. I mean, it was a masterclass from Bivol. And I'm just looking at it going, you're trying to take the weaknesses from that and go, how does Lyndon Arthur do anything that Canelo Alvarez couldn't do? And that's what I'm just trying to work out. I'm going, how does he win the fight is probably a better way of saying it. How does Lyndon Arthur beat Dmitry Bivol?
It's going to be
a tough night, isn't it?
Let's be honest, it's going to be really difficult. I don't like to use the word impossible, mission impossible, but it's going to be so difficult for Lyndon Arthur to beat somebody who's so sort of technically proficient.
How good is Bivol?
Bivol's excellent. He was a top amateur, and he's an exceptional professional. And you saw him take apart Canelo Alvarez, which you mentioned a minute ago. That win against Alvarez showed you that he belongs at the elite world level. and I'm not so sure that Lyndon Arthur is of that level. And I never like to say nobody can ever get there. Never say never, because fighters develop and learn every time they fight. But if you look at the facts and the statistics, Lyndon Arthur will lose to Dmitry Bivol. I'm not saying he's not in with a chance and he hasn't got some way of trying to manoeuvre Bivol around and try and beat him, but he gets outboxed, he gets outworked, he probably even gets outpunched as well.
Yeah.
And I think Bivol can do pretty much what he wants with Lyndon Arthur. Yeah. Take control of the fight and win when he wants, win by stoppage or win by points. And Bivol could probably make it an easy night's work for himself. Depends what mood he's in.
Look, listen, the lightweight division is absolutely booming in the moment. And we saw Anthony Yarde lose earlier on in the year, January I think it was.
Well, that's Lyndon Arthur's only loss, Anthony Yarde.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to use that as a yardstick. But what I'm saying is Anthony Yarde, Beterbiev, Yarde give him a go there. Beterbiev had to ask a few questions about himself. Yarde took it to him. So when you're putting him in there, you go, well, Lyndon, perhaps he deserves to be in that calibre of fighters. Yeah. But like, you know, Beterbiev fighting Callum Smith, I think it's January the 13th out in Canada. You know, could you see, if Bivol comes through this one, Bivol versus, let's say Beterbiev comes through against Callum Smith, or even with Callum Smith. What I'm saying is some great fights out there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
And like Lyndon Arthur's got this opportunity, it puts him in there for a great opportunity to try and upset the apple cart. But like, I'm with you, Cole. I'm not sure that he has the ability to do that. No, but I think that we get some big fights, and they will probably end up in Saudi again. You know, with Dmitry Bivol versus Beterbiev or something like that. Some big fights.
I mean, that's a monster fight in Beterbiev. Yeah. But I just think Lyndon Arthur just needs to do himself proud and not get wiped out and not get outclassed. Just be in the fight, and I'm sure he's going to go in there and try and do the best he can. But if he can go in there and take Bivol the distance and give a good show for himself, then them fights after that, even if he loses on points, which I'm predicting he probably will.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against Lyndon Arthur. You know, we want these fighters to do well. We want them to bring the belts back to Britain. That's what we want, first and foremost.
Yeah.
But you've got to be realistic. But if he can go in there and have a good show against Bivol, then he's going to have opportunities open up moving forward.
Does Bivol win on Saturday night?
I think Bivol does the business, yeah. I do. Yeah.
All right, Cole, listen, let's move on. Let's just finish off on this, really. Chris Eubank Jr, Conor Benn, February the 3rd. There's talk of them fighting at a stadium here, Tottenham Hotspur possibly. Fight is now officially off. Firstly, do you think that's the right decision with the situation that Conor Benn's in? You know, we had him, he had a conversation with Simon Jordan, actually, not so long ago, and said, I've got some significant evidence to prove my innocence. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to come on talkSPORT. We've still not seen anything, still not heard anything. I think why that grey cloud's hanging over him, what people must understand with Eubank Jr, if he was going to go into that fight, and that fight, they did to get over the line, I think there would have been consequences for Junior with the British Boxing Board of Control, everyone surrounding them. So what's your thoughts on the fight being off firstly? I mean, look, it's a fight that we want to see. I get that, but I think the timing's wrong,
Yeah, I agree. I think the timing's wrong. That fight has still got time to sort of come to fruition over the next year or so. I mean, Chris Eubank Jr is not spring chicken, but Conor Benn's a bit younger, so he's got more time on his side, but he's had a lot of wasted time with his failed drugs test issue, and it's dragged on and on and on. And I've said before that I think he should have just faced the border control, got it over and done with, and moved on. Look at Jarrel Miller. He's took
well, that's
his
what I'm saying. They do it. So why is Conor not doing it? It's like smoke and mirrors, because we're hearing a lot of noise.
He's digging his heels in because
I've got the proof. Yeah. And we've seen absolutely nothing, and I just can't work it out.
He's convinced he's innocent, and he doesn't think he's cheated. So he's saying, listen, I've not done anything wrong. But it's like, well, unfortunately, you failed a drugs test. Regardless of whether you meant to fail it, you need to go through the protocol, the procedure, the due process. And a part of that due process is sitting in front of the Board of Control, which is not done. And this fight, I think, needs to be licensed by the British Boxing Board of Control for it to have that massive magnitude of event. It needs to happen in Britain because of the name, the Benn, the Eubank name. It needs to happen. And you can take it over to Saudi, you can take it over to America, but I don't think it's big enough overseas. It's still a big fight, but on British soil, that fight's massive.
Do we get that in 2024?
Hopefully that happens. I mean, I don't think it should be happening in February, especially if the British Boxing Board of Control aren't behind it, because anybody involved then apparently could face some sort of ramifications from the Board of Control. If they're licensed or professional trainers, or if they're managing fighters or promoters, they might have a problem working with this fight if it's not backed by the Board of Control. So the fight's not happening. it's a shame, but it still can happen in the future.
Sure.
Conor Benn, what's he doing? He's digging his heels in. He said, I'm still fighting in
February 3rd in America.
February 3rd in America. So it'd be interesting to see how he gets on. But yeah, I can understand why the Ben Eubank fight isn't happening yet. It is disappointing, but it is what it is. Until we've moved on from this Conor Benn saga, we're not going to get that fight, I don't think.
Right, Cole, quick fire just before we wrap this show up. AJ versus Wallin, who wins?
AJ.
KO? Points.
I don't think he'll drag it to a point. I think at some stage, Anthony Joshua, hopefully he will realise, you know what, I've got this guy's number. He can't hurt me. If I back him up, I put shots together, combination punches, and land often enough, frequently enough, with 2 or 3 good shots, and then go back at him again, and it with 2 or 3 more, I think if you don't knock him out, the referee will jump in and stop the fight. So
Wilder Parker.
I just think that at some stage, Parker's going to get knocked out. I like Parker, nothing against him again, it's my opinion. I just think Deontay Wilder lands with that horrible, big, dirty right hand, clean on the chin of Joseph Parker, and renders him unconscious.
Dubois Miller.
Dubois Miller, it's one of them. Anything can happen. We don't fully know where Dubois is at the minute and what he's doing on the back of the Usyk defeat and where his mind is, and you know, has he got that strength of mind to go in there, believe in himself after the kind of, he's been accused of quitting against Usyk. I beg to differ. I think he realised he was getting beat. We spoke about it earlier, but I'm hoping that Dubois can show his ability, because he's got ability. I'm hoping he can believe in himself and put shots together. And if he does that, he'll beat Jarrel Miller.
Bivol Arthur.
I think Arthur's in the fight early doors, as long as Bivol allows him. And I think as soon as Bivol decides he wants to step on the gas and get the stoppage, he probably can do. If not, he'll sit back and he'll be happy with a points victory. But I think it's very, very difficult for Bivol to come away from that fight not being the winner.
Brilliant, Cobra. As always, mate, great having you back here again. And that's it for this week's episode of Talk Boxing. Guys, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and more importantly, leave your messages in the box below. Cobra, till next time, mate. See you then.